I'm just having a few problems with the system. It's showing me side on, which is bizarre. I don't know why it's doing that.
It's all right. I won't turn my head round. So I can
hear. I don't know if it's, okay, what's wrong here?
Don't worry. You can hear me. I can hear you, so it's fine.
But I've got to somehow sort myself out. My facial others will get myself. How does that happen?
That's it. You're around. Well, whatever you touch.
There it is. There it is. All right. Welcome, everyone. I've been very fortunate to be able to garner or take a bit of time out of David Graveney's day. How are you, David?
Yeah, not bad, actually. I don't know whether I told you that I was diagnosed with cancer at the turn of the year.
No, you haven't told me that.
Yeah, no. So I've had a barrage of radiotherapy for a while, and I've now had a spectacular week where I was given all clear, which was great. And then,
well, that's fantastic.
And then we had the delivery of our third grandchild, so it was a pretty special week, really. So,
wow. So, what was the type of cancer? Sorry,
prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer.
Yeah. So now, a message to all your listeners: go and get yourself checked, and don't be so proud about it, because if it's caught early, it's a pretty straightforward treatment. And most of the problems come because people can't be bothered, and all it is a blood test. So get it done.
Well, I've actually gone for some blood tests only the last few days, as a matter of fact. What were the symptoms, David?
They don't have to be symptoms, really. And in my case was, a bit tired and lethargic and things like that. So, there are particularly no main systems. Didn't have any problem in terms of going to the loo or anything like that. So, I think.
You say having problems going to the loo?
No problems at all. Most people have problems weeing and things like that. I didn't have anything like that at all. So, fortunately, it was caught. My only problem is the guy consultant who was treating me is an Indian, so all he wanted to talk about was the cricket. So, but he is a leading specialist in his field, so I was in safe hands.
Well, that's good. That's one good sign.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't go into the details of me at this point, but I'm getting myself checked as we speak, just generally. And your advice is fantastic, not just for you and I, but for all and sundry, because the age group is about as low as 40, isn't it?
Yeah. He's starting a campaign in the UK. I don't know whether in Australia you can get a free PSA test, but
we do.
Starts at 50. Even America have got it at 40. So I'm now on my son's case. Go and get tested. So anyway, so how are you health-wise anyway, Norman?
Well, I'm chubbier than ever. A bit of a cough, but otherwise quite okay. I went to the dentist during the week.
You're a full-time holiday operator. It's no wonder.
Well, I have been very much so, David. I went back.
You've gone to some fantastic places, Norman. Unbelievable.
I've been very lucky.
You should write a book on your the places you visited, because they're not just cricket grounds. They're more than that.
No. Well, 128 different countries now, so that's my list.
No, need to do it. So
let's get on to the cricket now. We've got so much to talk about, David.
Yeah.
Whether it be the England-India series now, which has gone, of course, 2-1 in England's favour.
Whatever the banner is showing on the screen, it's showing England 2-0 up against India. So you'll have lots of people ringing up about that.
Oh, yes. But it's been, I would argue, one of the best series in a long time. England-India series has been fantastic.
It's been, I think it's been outstanding. It's been a really good advert for 5-day cricket. People always say you got to play 4 days or whatever. The wickets themselves have been interesting. They haven't been completely flat wickets, even the one at Headingley. But the spectator was getting value for money on the basis it went 5 days, and it needed some skill, batting wise, skill to bowl people out. And I think it was hard for people to sort of look through, but I really do think India have found a really good leader. He's a young man. I don't know how much captaincy experience he has, but he's got stature. I know he's in fantastic nick with the bat, but his public quotes have all been very good, and they're typically with Gambia as well is that they're playing with a bit of edge, Norman. They're not going to just go roll over in front of everybody. They're going to, and I think that it's ironic, isn't it? The one Test match they won, Bumrah wasn't playing, and it's as if everybody else in the team has to step up to the plate to cover that gap. So it was. I didn't think scoring 1 run and over was going to be such enthralling cricket as it was on that last day, but it's. There was 24,000 people in the ground. It's unbelievable.
Oh, the most intriguing thing for me is, and I'm going to make this quite a distinctive point in my opinion. You've got Shubman Gill now leading India at the age of 25 from a certain under-19 World Cup that he was involved with. You've got Ben Stokes there, but you've got Harry Brook, as you know, as the future England captain waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
And so you've got Harry Brook, Shubman Gill, and with Australia, well, they're trying Sam Constance, which is not working at the moment, but I think he'll be good in the future. But the man that they really have forgotten about, but again, I mentioned him before to you, David, is Jason Sangha. Jason Sangha he had a batting average of 77 in the Sheffield Shield last season, moved from New South Wales to South Australia. He hit the winning runs in the Sheffield Shield final for South Australia. He's clearly now back into form and is around the same age as Shubman Gill and was the Australian under-19 captain. And I think Australia should be looking now at this boy, or man as he is now, and put him in the Australian side.
It's the right profile. It's the right age profile. It's I think the thing that is the key thing, they've got to be able to justify their position in the team. And certainly with Gill and Brook, though Brook has some interesting ways of getting out from time to time. He's the number 1 ranked batsman in the world. And Shubman Gill,
amazing.
I don't quite know why Gill is not, but they're 2 outstanding players and people to captain their countries. And Australia would be well advised to start looking at somebody in that age profile, because I think if they stick with what they're doing now, I back England to win the Ashes.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, even though Australian bowlers have had quite a renaissance, and we've got some 1,500, close to 1,600 Test wickets between the top 4, not including Boland, of course. They've got averaging roughly 400 wickets a player. It's an amazing group of bowlers, but they're not going to be together for that much longer, I don't think. And our batting is definitely frail. Jason Sangha could slot into either 2 or 3 in the batting order. David, he scored 77 as a batting average for the Sheffield Shield. Hit the winning runs for his state. They won the Sheffield Shield after many years.
One of the main parts why South Australia won.
Yep.
They just seem to be banging their heads against the wall around who's batting at the top. Cameron Green played for Gloucestershire and he did really well. Delightful young man. And it's not surprising that he's quickly getting to the job of batting 3. And he'll want to stay there. And I think they've been quite clever in terms of they need him back to bowl a little bit, but Bo Webster and him can actually support the seamers, because without wishing to be rude, they are quite advanced in terms of age-wise, so they do need some backup seamers to just share the burden more than anything else. So.
Yeah, okay, now just get back to Cameron Green for a minute. Do you really think when you look at so-called all-rounders, we'll call him a batting all-rounder for the sake of record. How many batting all-rounders have existed that have batted at 3? Only Jacques Kallis.
Yeah, and he moved down the order eventually because of his workload. But I would have to say, Norman, that Jack Callis's bowling is probably much stronger than Cameron's and
For
Bo
sure.
Webster. You know, he was a he was a seriously dangerous bowler and can bowl quite quick as well. So, and his body initially could cope with the stress of doing it. I didn't, you know, Cameron Green came and played for Gloucester, and he got 300s, played really, really well. And I sat with him and met him for the first time towards the end when he was just going off to play in the World Test Championship final. And he told me through his injuries and his health issues in terms of, you know, he's got issues with his kidneys and whatever. Has to be very careful about his diet. So he's got a few issues to contend with. So you would never want him to get into over bowl. Bo Webster can bowl. He's not too bad, but
can you? But okay, if you're going to have Bo Webster to the side,
I know where you're coming from. He's probably batting 3 is a bit too high for him, but being typical of the bloke, he's taken to it pretty quickly. But he's probably not the right number 3. England had the same scenario. You know that Pope has filled it for a while, but he's now come under heavy criticism. You know, he gets 100 and then gets out in some extraordinary ways. So it's a problem worldwide. And actually, even India, they're criticising the selection of their number 3, and I think he's done okay. You know, he's been out of the team for a while, but it is a difficult position to bat.
Okay, but I think the key to the batting lineups are, as far as I'm concerned, England's batting lineups very settled, especially when it comes to the Ashes. I think it's very settled the way it is. India's batting lineup.
If we'd lost the Lords, there would have been a bit of a cry for changing. Not Duckett, but Crawley came under a bit of pressure. He just batted in a bizarre way. Norman just kept running down the wicket. I don't quite know what he was trying to do then. It'd be the same for Australia. They've ironically got very similar issues, but the ball just seems to do quite a lot in international cricket now, or they bat in a manner where they're not prepared to leave rather than they want to hit it rather than leave it. You see what I mean? And not wear the bowlers down and then make hay as the ball gets softer.
Well, the very fact that they use the Duke's ball in the West Indies intrigues me. I think there's a lot of discussion going on whether the uniformity of one type of ball used throughout the world is starting to gain some momentum. And
I've been involved in discussions for 20 odd years, Norman, and the England were using the Duke ball and the Reader ball as well, which Pakistan liked a lot because it reverse swung. And then also, obviously, Australia had the Kookaburra. The reason it didn't progress in the UK is that the Reader and Duke were made in small industries. So if you wiped them out, that would have wiped them out as a business. And they were being, and you know, obviously the ECB steered away from that, probably being lobbied by quite a lot of bowlers. But they were handmade. Once you go down the route of manufacturing the Duke, this is why they're all complaining of it being too soft. And now they've experimented with the Kookaburra, and everybody had 2 county championship matches where they were using the Kookaburra, and the bowlers were moaning like buggery because it was like 500 played 500. But you know, I quite like the Kookaburra being used and a uniform ball, because people are going to have to learn how to take wickets, and that seems to be a skill that's departing from the game. As far as there needs to be something in the wicket, you know, just bowl a length and the wicket will do the business. You know, there have been times when you've got to do something different, and that's why the combination of Glenn McGrath and Warney was the best possible combination, because you know they could bowl people out on anything. So
yeah. Oops, sorry. Hang on. Brian, hang on a second. Okay. The intriguing thing is we also had the Duke ball used in Australia for some of the Sheffield Shield matches. Did you know that?
Is that preparation to play in the UK, or is it they're just using it?
I think it may well have been, but it still is an intriguing development for that to happen. Okay, let's move away from the ball for a moment. Let's go back to, well, first of all, we'll talk about England and India as our main discussion, but just on the Australian side, I'm going to put it out there right now that, okay, Sam Constance is in all sorts of issues, mental issues with his batting. He seems to have lost all confidence in the West Indies series, difficult wicket that it was. He's got to get his act together in the early Sheffield Shield form, otherwise he's heading to be dropped. But they should not go back to Labuschagne. They need to stick. Well, Khawaja is going to be there for an indefinite period still. Josh Inglis, I believe, should be in that batting order. And ultimately, I'm going to push for Jason Sangha.
What
My
about
batting
the
order.
guy at Queensland? Is it McSweeney or
Sorry?
who the guy who opened to start with in the series?
McSweeney.
Yeah.
Well, he also failed quite miserably when he was batting in Australia in that recent series. So he's not. He's in the mix, but he's still not out and out. Jason Sanger performed better than him, and he's in the same side as McSweeney.
But they need to. I agree with Lampashane that you can't go back to him. His game is completely all over the place. He doesn't know which ball to hit, which one to leave. But you might. And this seems a really odd thing to say, Norman. But because he plays for Gloucestershire, I've seen a lot of him bat in terms of Cameron Bancroft. He's a guy who gets a lot of runs, and he knows how to play the new ball. And he knows how to play these guys, English guys, because he faces them on a daily basis.
But I mean, after Sandpaper Gate, Bancroft's name, even though he's still playing well for his state and in the county championship, he won't get selected. I think he's
fine. Well, go with the guys that you're suggesting, but they definitely need a change. But once you make that change, you've got to stick by him. It's not just
absolutely.
You've got to say to him, right, you're batting the whole series, unless it completely falls apart, and that's a different matter. But you've just got to stick by them because England.
Would you keep Sam Constance? Would you keep Sam Constance in this team?
He's batting a bit like, he's a really attacking player. And the worst thing that ever happened was that when he first opened the batting and smashed it all over the place, sort of in a very exaggerated way, you're never going to survive doing that. So,
no.
I understand where they were coming from, but the guy in the side that he was playing under 19 World Cup that won in South Africa was the guy who was the captain who batted in the middle order. He actually was a better technique than all of them, basically. So, but I'm not suggesting opens, but he's somebody that you need to keep your eye on. But yeah, it's if you think, and these guys, I think, Norman, the message I'm sure that Bailey would have delivered to them. This is a fantastic opportunity for you to play. So you've got X number of weeks, X number of Shield games. The guy who's in the best form and has the best technique will be the guy who gets selected. Simple as that.
I hope they do that.
And it could be Constance. He'll have a clear message of, you're the man in possession at the present stage, no matter what the media says. If you come out and play in a manner that is calm, controlled, you're lining up the ball properly, then he should continue. But he can't. The West Indies wickets were just a nightmare for batsmen. Basically, you were never in on. If you got 50, you did really well. And that's actually why Cam Green did really well in the scores that he got. So, but your keeper, the one guy for me that has really come to the fore is Alex Carey. He is a seriously game-changing batsman. Whatever the situation, he's becoming very trustworthy if the team is in trouble, having lost early wickets. And the opposition will now begin to view that is the key wicket that we need to get. Forget anybody else, forget Steve Smith and anybody else. They might have their moment. But if you look at the consistency that Alex Carey brings to the stage, it's phenomenal, basically.
I'll tell you what, Josh Inglis is a pretty good backup because he can keep well, and so that's a great foil for him as well.
Doesn't mean you can't play both. You can't play both. You can play both of them. England tends to play about 5 wicket keepers.
There's no reason why they can't play both. Exactly. Josh Inglis is a worthy upper order batsman too. Only own 2 feet. Okay, let's go back to the main series of interest Ashes to come, but this England India series has been phenomenal. As we mentioned earlier, Shubman Gill scoring the second most runs ever in a Test match, certainly as captain. His double century was magnificent. I'm so impressed with the way he played. I also impressed with the way Punt plays. I think he was great too. He's an asset to the side. India looked the goods. I know England have beaten them now twice, and that's because of Ben Stokes and the hunch that he had about Jofra Archer. He bowled out of his skin in that Lord's
Yeah,
Test.
yeah, and India have dominated a lot of sessions. They paid a very high price for the catches they dropped to Headingley, but Headingley is a place where you can drop catches, and also there is a history of the side batting last, assuming the weather's okay, of winning the game. You know, that's happened twice against Australia with Mark Butcher's Test match, and then again Ben Stokes. It tends to just go flatter and flatter and flatter. And you know, India have, and even Stokes recognised that at the match at Lords, having been there 8 down near lunch, they would have thought that was just straight formality. It'd been done in 1 over, judging by the way that Shiraz bats and Bumrah. But such is the character that Gill has and the coach have instilled in the team. You know, I think they play some really outstanding cricket. I must admit.
No doubt. I mean, that performance by Jadeja was magnificent. I just love the way that Stokes and Jadeja came into an embrace after the match. They realised the strength of both of their performances. Ben Stokes' attitude and his steely ways.
Yeah, I can remember when Duncan Fletcher was captain. It was coaching India, and I asked him, not that we spoke a lot, but I asked him, you know, who's your most valuable player in your team? And even then, he said it was Jadeja. With all his high class batsmen and whatever, he said, this is the bloke in all 3 assets can change the game, whether it be fielding, batting, and bowling. So, and he's still
But
jogging
again,
along.
we're forgetting Root. He is only a couple hundred runs away now from being the second most prolific run scorer in Tests.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
yeah, and he's got plenty of energy in the tank. It'd be interesting to see, and it's a little bit like the 2007 Ashes. You know, who finishes after that series. You know, either team basically. So if England win, will be the, you know, because to get Ben Stokes onto the pitch is quite a task by the medical staff, and he didn't, you know, being captain, batting, bowling, fielding, it's quite demanding. So the Australian series, whichever way it will go, and I think it will be again another thriller, because mainly on the inefficiencies of both teams. That, you know, it'll be, you know, because in the end the wickets that are produced in Australia are fair wickets. They're not
Yeah.
attempting to cost them in any way. They have their regional characteristics, which is fine. You know, Brisbane is pretty quick wicket and can swing. You know, Sydney has its features. The drop-in wickets, I'm still not convinced they're the best surfaces to play on.
No.
Because they remove the local conditions, but needs must. So I'd see it being very close, but I don't think Australia are unbeatable. At the same point, I don't think England are either. So it'll be a fantastic series.
Well, clearly both Root and Harry Brook are going to. I think this is their moment in time. They're reckoning that both really they're ranked 1 and 2 in the world now, and they come to Australia with an expectation of scoring runs and scoring big runs, and I think
Yeah,
they can, because they're capable of adjusting to Australian conditions pretty well. And I'm looking forward to both Crawley and Duck, the openers play the way they do. I think England have got a really strong batting lineup.
well,
Let's not forget
Duckett will be correct because he doesn't block Duckett, so he's very compact. It'll be interesting to see what Australia do as a plan, because they've lost series in the past where they couldn't bowl to left-handers. When Strauss and Cook were opening batting, they just didn't have an idea how to bowl to them. So it's a bit like Jimmy Anderson when he first started bowling to Graham Smith. You know, he didn't quite know how much it's going to swing. Does it swing into his legs? Does he bowl it across him? So it'd be interesting to see what plan Australia come up with. but they're really experienced bowlers. That's you know, the problem will be to stay fit more than anything else. So, and that's why
Not forgetting your keeper. Not forgetting your keeper. Smith has been fantastic as well.
Yeah, well, he's another thing. All started with the likes of Dhoni and Gilchrist, the number 7 who changes the course of the game, and he's in the same category. That's what he does.
Well, he's scored 1,000 runs in extra quick time as well, which has been amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
He doesn't even keep for Surrey, you know. No.
Wow. He doesn't
Folkes
keep. Doesn't keep.
No. Ben Folkes keeps for him. The guy he deposed in the team. It's an interesting dynamic.
I've got a lovely thank you just now, David, from a young girl called Nipuni Hunseeker, who was a number 3 bat and vice captain of Sri Lanka. She's just received her Australian citizenship.
Oh, brilliant.
Her and a partner, Rebecca Van Dort, who was the keeper for Sri Lanka, have both been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're just messaging me lovely messages about the whole thing, and I'm very proud. Done a great job.
Yeah.
And Jayanara Alam's here now as well, the opening bowl of Bangladesh. She's settling in nicely, so I'm very pleased with the way things are going on that side. All right, back to the England bowlers now. Jofra Archer's performance was outstanding, especially after so many years out. Now, he and Mark Wood, who's on the mend, to apparently be ready for the 5th test, maybe even the 4th. When they both come to Australia, they're fairly significant people, aren't they, in the success of the England tour of Australia?
Well, you've got pace coming from both ends, not just the one end. So, but with their injury records, Norman, they're going to have to be managed really, really carefully. And they might have to be a Bumbra type situation where they get rested, or depending on the number of overs they've got. So the actual touring party is going to have to be quite big to cope for them having a rest at the appropriate time. So
you got Atkinson as well. He's back.
What they needed to do is have the old itinerary of playing, you know, a test match, and then they go up country and you have a week off or whatever. It's now compressed so much that it's difficult for quicker bowlers.
Very much so.
Australia will have the same scenario. So.
True. All right. So the 4th test, England are 2-1 up. It looks very good for England, I think. India will fight, and this next test is pivotal because if India can fight back and win, it brings it to 2-2. What are your thoughts on the last 2 tests? We've got the last test at the Oval and the one prior. Where are we at for the next test?
Old Trafford.
Old Trafford and Manchester.
Turn it, Norman. I'm just going to get somebody at the door.
No worries. Well, as we heard David join us, we're very proud of him. It's great to have him on. He's got a great insight into the likes of Harry Brooks and a number of the other England players that are there now. David, you brought Harry's name to our attention well before he reached the top level.
Yeah.
And you gave us watch this space. I'm doing the same with Jason Sanger. I firmly believe if he scores a century or 2 in the Sheffield Shield, he commands to be put back into this, not put back, but put into the Australian side. Yeah, and good. I think they should groom him as a captain.
That would be a good motive, yeah. So, what is the backup cinema provision for Australia? Given that obviously
Scott Boland, obviously, they wane a bit. They've got a number of blokes that are playing the short format pretty well. Like Xavier Bartlett's pretty good. He could well be a test bowler.
Played in the Big Bash.
Yeah, but then Michael Nesser and they've got Spencer Johnson and this other guy, and obviously you got Sean Abbott. They're fringe. They're okay, but they're not putting a stamp on their chances like Scott Boland obviously has.
Yeah,
getting a hat trick. Imagine getting a hat trick, David, in a test match and not receiving the game ball.
No.
He wasn't good enough. It was given to Stark for his 6th and 400th 400 wickets and 100th test match.
Yeah.
He gazumped poor old Bowl, and he got a bloody hat trick.
It happened. Yeah, it was a very, very quick innings, that I'd have to say.
Oh, it was look. what I mean, apparently they brought a so-called committee together with the CEO in Antigua the next few days. It includes Lloyd,
No, yeah,
Richards, and a number of big heavy hitters to talk about what's wrong with.
Chandler, everything. So
Yeah, it's going to
well,
be interesting.
they would have to also look at their wickets. You know, for and they've just got to change their pay structure. Norman, it's too easy for these guys to go and play franchise cricket. So and that's what you have to do. You know, I can go back many years to go back to Packer, and Packer's intervention meant that all the wages around the world by the boards all had to improve because otherwise the game wouldn't continue. And this is the same for Nicholas Pooran to retire from international cricket mid-20s. That is just shouldn't happen basically.
But even Chandabal's son was looking in the goods there for quite a while. What happened to him?
Well, I just think some of the wickets they play on domestically are just not good enough, basically. Yeah. So it all sort of, I can only just look at, and I've been a great admirer. Obviously, like to beat Australia as an Englishman, but I've always been a great admirer of their setup, in as far as that they have the facilities in order to develop cricketers, and even simple things like net facilities. They also have an itinerary where there are gaps between competitive cricket and where you can go back to your states or the state practice, and they develop their game. You can in England you just play. Bad habits creep in. So the system at Australia promotes, I think, more technically better cricketers, whereas I think that a lot of, and England are to a certain degree. If you're looking at the next 11, all you have to do is watch the Big Bash, the IPL. IPL in particular, the ball just gets flogged out of the ground all day long. And you can't take that technique to go and play in the Test match. So at the current time, quite a number of those young Indian batsmen in the IPL are playing domestic red ball cricket in England, just to be able to learn how to, leave the ball. I know that seems a really stupid thing, but line the ball up and play a proper innings.
And the danger now is, it's not, I shouldn't call it a danger, but good old Neil Maxwell, who I'm heavily around these days from his chairmanship for Sydney Cricket Club with Greg Healy and the like. He's now been in the ear of the Saudi Arabians. Yeah. And he's been looking at their $1 trillion purse that they've got sitting around there, and they're looking at delving into a grand slam of cricket. And that will be another way of sadly pulling away from Test cricket. I hope Test cricket's involved with that scheme, but there's a lot of development going on. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, they're we've had the sort of LIV thing to do with golf. A lot of footballers now go and play there. And the number of top sporting events, whether it be boxing or anything, are all now in Saudi. So they're a major player. So, but even to temper the possible criticism, these guys, they've only got one career. And they have wives and families, and they have the same responsibilities of other people, and there just has to be a balance, really. But the bottom line is the boards are going to have to seriously up the money that they're paying their players in order to, particularly to play Test match cricket. Fortunately, Australia and England have players in the main. There are a few who fall by the wayside who really value playing Test match cricket. They want to wear the cap. I'm not sure whether that's the same place in any other. Well, India would be the same as well.
Well, I mean, South Africa winning the World Test Championship has probably given that country a bit more of an emphasis on Test cricket.
And brilliant. I know Australia lost, but again, that was a brilliant game.
Oh, it was, and ebbed and flowed yet again. and
Yeah.
Australia were their pants were pulled down. They were beaten by. I mean, Aiden Markram batted fantastically on that last
It
innings,
was
and
extraordinary
and
innings.
Bavuma
I've
put
always
his
thought,
end up. It was great.
yeah. So there's still some good things out there, but I think that the boards can't be complacent. They've got to really sort of make sure they protect the itineraries. And I think it's certain. I can only talk about England that you can't just play county cricket and then wander off and play a franchise, because you've got to have a non-objection certificate to allow you to do that. But you're getting a few people who are just giving up playing red ball cricket in the UK and just becoming a troubleshooter to play franchise cricket. That is the greatest fear. I think the greatest fear
It's sad.
is the American market. Well, for us, because it clashes right at the beginning of our domestic season. So,
well, look at Steve Smith. He's actually living in New York now. He doesn't
yeah,
live.
no.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bit of a gap now between this Test match and the next one, and there's a few broken bodies that need to be put back together again. But Old Trafford will suit the Indian attack because it's quite an abrasive wicket. I think they need to bring the wrist spinner in if I was involved with India.
Well, Bashir's out, isn't he? Bashir's out. Liam Dawson's come in.
Yeah, and he's good. You know, he's. Feel a bit sorry for Jack. Jack Leach seems to have been binned full stop, really. So
yeah. Okay, with the dilemma of Bumrah and, for that matter, Archer and Wood, what do you think is going to play out in the next two tests?
I think they will decide that Bumrah plays while the series is alive. There's no point not playing him when they lose and playing with the Oval, which is a dead rubber. I think if India win, or India have to win, really. Sorry, they don't have to win. They can have a draw, but draws don't seem to happen unless there's some weather. He could easily end up playing both. Because to be fair, the other seamers have gradually come to the party. Shiraz is nobody can try as hard as Shiraz does, and he has his moments and whatever. But it's there's some young players, inexperienced players on the team. And that's what I'm saying about the coach and the captain. Have done a really, really good job to gel them all together. Because I think
Akash was pretty good.
Rao is one of the best players in the world now.
Oh yeah,
and he's a proper player. He plays proper Test match cricket. So
it's beautiful to watch. Actually, I love watching Rahul bat. I think it's fantastic. Okay, what about Archer? Is he going to play? Is Archer going to play the last two tests?
I think that let's see how it monitors his body. If the gap was much shorter, I don't think he would have played the next one. He'll want to play, but let's see the impact of what's happened on his body. The same will be for the Indians on Bumrah. Can he shape up? But there is a bit of a gap now. So it's like Thursday week. So as far as I'm aware, I think it's like the 23rd. So there's a bit of a gap. So I would suggest I know where you're coming from, but I don't think you could have the risk of having Wood and Archer on the pitch at the same time at this stage, because their injury records are so bad that you could end up with two bowlers if you're not careful. So.
Well, by that, then I would argue that Archer will play the next test, and then he might be rested for the last, depending on what the results are, and Wood would come in for the last.
That would probably be how it might pan out. But Wood's still, if you play 5 days normally, you've got to have some cricket under your belt. So he's got to, and there's no red ball cricket on in the UK because we have this hundreds competition that goes on for the whole of August, and literally there is no red ball cricket. So he will have to go into a test match having not bowled for 2 months. That's high risk, that is.
Oh, look, I'm going to be very proud of Root when he knocks off. I think it's Ponting's in second spot. He's only 200 runs away, 170 runs away. He'll get it.
Good.
Well, there you go. England can really boast. They have the second highest run scorer, and they'll have the second highest bowling. Oh, no, actually third with Anderson being third.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. With it's a pretty good record.
No, very good. Norman, I'm going to have to peel off in a minute.
All right. Thanks, David. Do you want to do this more regularly during the tests?
Yeah. No, I'm happy.
Okay, I'll call upon you.
Using a panel or not?
Yeah, I spoke to Adam today too. Actually, he's floating around. So, and Chris is there, so I'll get them all back. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Around the test match, the day before, Norman, as a preview. Let's do a preview.
Let's do that.
See
We'll do a preview the day before.
Okay. Anyway, great to see you. Anyway.
Likewise, though. Take care.
I will. Speak to you soon.
Thanks, David. Well, there you have it. David Grady, the former chairman of selectors of England cricket, a man that really has high standings, has a lot to do with a whole suite of players, I should say, including Harry Brook, knows them all very well, nurtured them all the way along. Had a good chat with Cam Green there at Gloucestershire, and his thoughts are very valid to this whole tournament. Great series, England versus India. We've got a lot of time for it indeed, and I'm pretty sure that we will see a cracking fourth test at Old Trafford in Manchester, and then finishing up with a fifth test, of course, which will be in the Oval there in London. Two great test matches with India currently 2-1 up. Sorry, England currently 2-1 up. India need to win the next one to make the series, keep the series alive. I think they're capable of doing that, and as David said, the bowls will suit that pitch. The other matter of interest, of course, is Australia have obviously won the series 3-0 against West Indies with a fine bowling effort from Mitchell Stark at the end there and bowled his hat trick. Magnificent figures, getting West Indies all out for a mere 27 runs, which has put turmoil into the camp there in the West Indies. Australia deserved the 3-0 series win. Sam Constance goes back with his tabs on his legs. He'll have to get his act together there to keep his spot. Labuschagne should not be an automatic selection, and nor should McSweeney. I believe that Josh English should be kept there in the four. He was there before Smith came back. And of course, you've got Jason Sanger, the man that I'm wanting to have back into the side. My batting order again for the Ashes series early doors will be, I hope, Khawaja and someone like Inglis opening. I love to see Jason Sanger at 3. Then you'd have the likes of Smith and Green in the batting order with obviously Travis Head, and that's my batting order. I would certainly be looking at that happening. I don't think they can keep Bo Webster and Cam Green on the side. We'll wait and see. And then you'll have the bowling lineup, which will eventually be the same quartet that have got close to 1,600 wickets, and then of course Boland there as well. So pretty strong. England will have the likes of Wood, Archer there for the Ashes. A batting lineup which includes Brook, obviously Root, Pope, Duckworth, and obviously Crawley, and Ben Stokes there as well, and a great keeper in Smith who's batting sensationally. Any questions, guys? I'm not actually seeing questions today. I'm not sure. Oh, here we are. So we're looking at Syed joined us. India dominated 13 to 15 days. Interesting comments there, Syed. I would agree with that. That they certainly did dominate that much of the time. McSweeney hasn't gotten enough opportunities. Well, I think he has. Karun there is getting the start, but not converting. Well, he's got so many people batting well around him at the moment, so I'll be wary of that comment. It's true. It's a difficult one. Anyway, any other comments, guys, you want to make? Let me know. We'll be talking more. This is a review of the first 3 tests between India and England. Obviously, a look back at the Australia West Indies series, as we know. Australia won that 3-0. There's currently games with Bangladesh and Sri Lanka going on, and a number of other matches floating around in the short format as well. Will be okay. Himanshu, can you see any comeback of the West Indies? I think it's a game over for them. No, it's not game over. The West Indies will always be a force. They've got a great bowling lineup, a great future in this. Shamar Joseph, Azari Joseph, Seals, they're all good bowlers. They're batting. I didn't mind their middle order. I thought there was a couple of blokes who could bat well. I think Brandon Smith got a bit of a raw end of the stick. The openers couldn't even open for the last innings because they were both injured and about lower down the order. It was an awful set of circumstances as well. So I don't. I'm not writing off the West Indies yet at all. I think they've got a long way to go. Honestly, Himanshu, don't write them off at all, at your peril. Indeed. All right, guys, we might stop that session here. Any more questions? Give me some questions. Throw questions at me. I'm still saying Jason saying my batting order, as I said, for Australia, Inglis and Kawaja will be the two there. If they bring Jason Sanger back in and push Graham Green down to maybe 5, we'll see. They'll have to make a decision whether Bo Webster and Cam Green both play. If Cam Green is to stay, he needs to bowl, and Bo Webster may have to see himself out of the side for some of the matches during the Test series. They are they're basically struggling batting right since, when are you talking? Since 2000 and, hang on, well, I'm sure comments. Oh, since 2014. Well, that's a bit long. They had some good batters in between. I mean, Craig Brathwaite he got a truck. He got 6,000 Test runs. He can't be ignored. Yeah, so there we have it. So anybody wanting StreamYard, there's a referral there for you. Cody Walker's saying a live video. I'm not sure what's going on. Yes, it's great to hear that Napuni Hunseeker, Rebecca Van Dort have been made Australian citizens in recent ceremonies. It's fantastic. Two people that I brought from Sri Lanka. One was the wicketkeeper for Sri Lanka, and one was the vice captain at number 3, but have now become Australian citizens. Fantastic to see. Fantastic to see. All right, guys. Any other questions? Any other questions, guys? If not, we'll talk soon again. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you joining me. We're going to have David Graven and a few others coming on with Chris Vernon and the like for the 4th and 5th tests of the England-India series. And it's obviously we can't do any more with the Australian West Indies series because it's finished. We'll talk more. Join me soon on Eyes on Sports with a Z, or Eyes on Cricket with Norman Cotchnick. View, like, and subscribe to my channel. Getting close to 54,000 subscribers. Going strong. Stay tuned soon to the next part of this lovely set of live visits we have with a number of great guests. Thank you again. Enjoyed your time today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Pass your comments and we'll be able to go from there. Hang on, I've got a comment from Himanshu. Ban whitewash them. No, I'm not knocking West Indies. West Indies, watch out for the West Indies. They'll come back and come back strong. I'm not going to discount them at all. All the best, guys. Take care. We'll speak soon.